Hello, Aries. How are you? I'm here to do your first half of November reading. I'm going to first call out some days you want to keep an eye out for. So November 2nd, Mercury square Pluto. That's like power struggles with words. It's not great energy. Thursday the 4th, Sun opposite Uranus, can be surprises, can be things you didn't expect, challenges of will. At the same time, that day, there's a new, obviously Sun, there's a new moon in Scorpio. So actually the Sun and the moon directly oppose Uranus. That is some firecracker energy right there. And if we look at the Sabians for that new moon, and I'll do a different reading on the moon itself, but the Sabian for Taurus, which is where Uranus is a man carrying baggage. And the Sabian for where the sun and the moon are is an inventor experimenting. So like the guy weighted down with baggage is Uranus, the guy who likes to blow stuff up. And then the sun and the moon in the sign of death and regeneration are about an inventor experimenting. So I expect some stuff to be severely revamped under this new moon, blowing up the past, ditching a lot of the baggage too, because an inventor experimenting, right? That's one person who's focused so towards the future that they're looking at things that don't even exist yet. And the other one is like trying to blow up, is weighed down by all this baggage that they're carrying. So those two are going to be in conflict, where you may find, and this is kind of like resonant with the last reading that I did for the end of October, where it's like the baggage is weighing down the ability to invent a new future. And so that baggage needs to be released. Since it's on Uranus, it's likely that it gets blown up as opposed to just being released. Again, we are in eclipse season. The first one is on the 19th. And I'll do another reading for that at another time. But Friday the 5th, Venus moves into Capricorn, which means actually in those first days of November, she's going to be crossing over what's known as the whistleblower degree. So we may find women coming out and speaking some truths. It's aligned with the galactic center. So these tend to be things that pull culture towards the future. And they usually come from women, like with this Venus moving over that degree. It will likely be some sort of female who plays a big role in exposing secrets or saying something that reveals stuff we didn't know. Mercury moves into Scorpio on Friday the 5th. At that point, we will have 3 planets in Scorpio. So that's going to be very intense. Mercury sextile Venus on the 6th, nice energy. The 10th, Mercury conjunct Mars. That's somebody who wants to fight. Mars square Saturn. That's somebody who really wants to fight. Mercury square Saturn. That is someone else who definitely wants to fight. So you might want to take the 10th off and just kind of hide under the covers. On the 12th, Sun trines Neptune, which is nice and like balm from that fight on the 10th. And then on the 13th, Mercury opposes Uranus. That's also a fight. And then the Sun squares Jupiter on the 15th, which is someone not getting what they want. So that is the energy leading up to the 15th. Like I said, November is going to be trying. Let's get hold on. Let's get the energy for Aries for the first half of the month of November 2021. Overall energy for Aries, first half of 2021. Interesting. Perception. So this is about, the perception opens the doors, or the doors of perception, reality, something like that. It was the Doors quote, or where they got their name from. That it is your perception of the situation that changes what it looks like. And then this actually talks about a woman who walks a full circle, right? She goes through this garden and keeps going onto the path. And then she comes back and finds herself exactly at the same place, but with a whole new conception of where she was, where she's been. And this is kind of like a metaphor for how many of the spiritualists talk about life, that it's a spiral staircase. You know, you never necessarily, it's not like a straight line to someone. We kind of tend to go around the same issues again and again and again. And every time we come up against them again, we look at them from a new vantage point. Depending on our evolution, we can look at them from higher up or we can look at them from lower up. So there is something here that talks about coming full circle and looking at a situation in your life with a brand new vantage point, and perhaps even seeing it as sort of like a precious experience, or reevaluating something, either better or worse, right? Turns out that it was actually a gem and it may have been the experience, or you may be just thankful for having gone through the process. Since we're talking about, especially with the last reading, with release, there is something in the process of going through it again, or you know, walking around the staircase, that will allow you to release something in order to get to a higher vantage point and to actually see the benefits. Remember, there was also in that last reading about being able to see the light in the dark, about being able to see the goodness. And then here we have this butterfly, which also came up in 2 readings ago, and which is the ultimate sign of regeneration. You know, it dies as a caterpillar and is reborn a butterfly. So there's definitely something that happens during the Scorpio period where it's like, as we walk around the same path again, we come to a new vantage point and we're able to see things in a more positive light. Or at least see them as a richer experience, you know. But our perception will certainly change about something. Can I have the challenge energy? Oh, hold on. All right, that really wants to come out, so I follow. There are 2 cards here. This is the Innocence card, right? And it's this too is about like seeing things differently, death and rebirth. And then we have this, which is the King of Cups. This is about emotional healing, healing the mind, healing the solar plexus, to almost shine from the heart, right? So yeah, they're both looking at these little like sort of green objects here. I always think of sort of you know, they're both emerald. So there's something in the green, which is 4th chakra energy. It's being able to speak, communications, but it's also like nature related. So the grass, trees, life, vibrance, plants, something that is growing, and that is nurtured, right? So seeing something perhaps start to bloom or blossom as a result of some of the emotional healing that is bound to happen from the experience. You know, and this may feel almost like, especially since we're in Scorpio, it may feel not so innocent. That's, you know, innocence is not the word that we tend to use with Scorpio energy. But this also kind of goes back to that other reading, which was to find the light, right? So in all of this kind of creepy energy that we might be surrounded with and the challenges that are going to come up, to really seek out the innocence and the subtle pleasures and the subtle things, the beauty that comes from just observing the perfection of nature, right? And here we also have a cricket, and we also have the butterflies. So the small, appreciating the small, delicate nature of humanity as a way of healing some of the bigger issues that are going on. Let's get this. So it's, there's definitely a lot of changes that are going to happen and bring things around. And will bring healing. And with this healing, there's a change in perception. There's a change in how we see things. So we may actually find that through this process of release that comes from the Scorpio season, that we're actually left feeling a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more optimistic, almost like a Disney princess in the morning. That things may get like so dark that our solution is to choose to see the light, to choose to appreciate this, to find healing and find soothing for the soul in the beauty of nature and in the simplicity of the things around us. Okay, so interesting. So, oh my God, wait, we got Saint Germain as the advice card in the last reading, and here he is again. This one is about karma releasing, and it says, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. So this is definitely a continuation of that October reading. And then we have, look at this bright green princess here, Disney princess. Bridget, inner strength, move back to wholeness, recognize that you have the power. And this talks about capturing that divine flame that we all have inside of us, particularly as an Aries. And, in the last reading, it was like all blue. This one's kind of like all green. We can feel drowned out by the water energy, by the Scorpio energy, because it's like molten lava as well. And so this says to remember, use your fire in order to stay in this space. And also let that fire sort of burn off, like burn through and clear the vision here. And it says move back to wholeness, which means that there's obviously, and that's part of this, the breaking down of the mental thought patterns, breaking down the emotion, the things like from childhood here, healing those old solar plexus, reigniting the fire in the solar plexus in order to be able to move almost to like a childlike innocent state. So almost like a starting over. Oh, hold on. All right, I'll take them both. So we have metamorphosis and movement, right? And again, with the birds here. And this one is, we've seen this a lot, and it talks about as you move forward, this forms the energy to move even forward. And this talks about being in between two worlds. So like the butterfly, not yet whole, and there's more butterflies around there too. Not yet whole, but definitely in the process of doing that. Let me get some more cards here. So this season may be sort of like a breaking down of old energy, old thought patterns, things from the past, things that you've had emotional cords to, and asking you to replace them, to sort of burn them away with this kind of sacred fire in order to approach life with a renewed sense of innocence, a renewed sense of optimism, a renewed sense of growth. And this metamorphosis happens, but it requires you to keep moving forward and not stay stuck. Because as you move forward, you will continue, and this talks about create your own path, right? Make room for good energy. and the ostrich is a bird that can stick its head in the sand, right? So to not stick your head in the sand, but to keep boldly moving forward as this process happens. And I really get this very strong image of burning away. Ooh. my cards were in agreement, and the Empress fell out as I said that, of burning away that which doesn't serve you anymore. Like burning away all those like energetic cords, the things that are filling up your energy field, turning them into vapor, or turning them into smoke and letting them be released. So we have the Empress right here in the middle of the middle. Now she obviously speaks of birth, of creation. I did mention that Venus had a big role because first she was going to be the whistleblower, and then she's going to move into Capricorn, where she's all about, well, really she's all about the money, honey, but she's about building and being very concrete. Let's get 2 more cards here, please. Two more cards. Aries, the first half of November. 2 more cards for Aries, first half of November. Okay, one more. Okay. So this was first Page of Cups, right? So that's like that youthful, innocent. You see, they're all kind of like holding out something, making an offering. He's got this young cup that he's doing with the little fish there. Everybody's got these little animals, this fire. It's like finding the thing in your heart, the fire in your heart that makes you kind of feel that childish innocence again, that life is a beautiful place, that things are possible. And to get out of this kind of space, right? I talked about the ostrich is someone who can bury their head in the sand, and that's this energy. And you're invited to keep moving forward, to not get stuck in the gray water area, right? This is be careful of what's going to happen here during the Scorpio season, because you can get stuck. Do not get stuck, especially since it's fixed energy. Do not get stuck. Let this kind of grayness be like a metamorphosis, like embrace that Scorpio energy of death and rebirth. But that's the important thing. We must embrace the rebirth, the birthing of something new, the allowing it to come through, and not get stuck in just the death part. So, embracing whatever wants to leave you, embracing moving forward, even if you don't know where you're going, just move forward. Understand that this is like, that staying in this fire, that finding your passion, the thing that makes you feel that sort of childish innocence, that innocence is going to help burn off some of that karma, right? And this goes back to that Scorpio new moon with the man with the baggage. There's the man with the baggage, and then there's the inventor, experimenting, coming up with things that don't even exist yet. And that's this. It's the difference of this. Which energy do we want to be in? Do we want to be the person with the baggage, or do we want to be the person imagining a future that doesn't even exist yet? Experimenting, willing to take chances on new things, willing to try new things, willing to see things in a new light, even if they don't necessarily make sense. And even if what's going on around it's like all chaos and confusion, really tapping into this kind of youthful, hopeful energy that, yes, things can be better, and this says a lot to me, kind of like what's going on right now. If we read any of the papers, papers, I'm like super old. I used to actually read paper. But if we read like what's going on in the news today, it's easy to be like, this world is fucked and there's not much we can do about it, and just drown in that, like, we're stuck. What can we do? There's so much to be done that it's impossible. And we can stay there and get stuck in that. Or we can find whatever is our light. Like this little light of mine is the song that is coming to my head now, which is like a childish song, right? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And that's really what this is letting this sort of like, letting this energy that's surrounding us right now, this very difficult energy, almost be the motor into helping us find our fire so that we can let it shine. And embracing that sense of innocence that, hey, yeah, okay, can I fix everything? No, because they're all in like their own little garden. And in Italy, when we talk about people like owning a project or something, we talk about them having a garden. And they have these little plots of land that they rent out here to everyone. They're like free from the public, I think, or free from the government. And you can go and rent one, where you tend to your own garden. But each person tending to their own garden in a huge plot of land is a giant garden. So it's really saying, okay, no, we probably can't fix everything. No, you can't fix everything, but you can tend to your garden with the innocence and the optimism that's necessary to make a change in your specific area. And that multiplied by however many of us are becomes a very big movement. Let me get some last words of advice so this doesn't get too long. Okay. Energy's really strong on this one, I gotta be honest. All right, so can I get advice for the Aries for the first half of November? Okay. So we have the Ascended Master, Mother Mary, and Celestite. And the message here is unconditional trust. I'll leave that there and let me read this to you. All right, we bring you the blessing of unconditional trust. There are times when trust comes easily. Perhaps life is proceeding according to some sort of plan, or you have enough money to feel safe, sufficient prospects on the horizon to feel excited, and enough love in your relationships to feel wanted and valued. Then, I'm sure this is the time right now, then there are times when it's harder to trust. Perhaps none of the above applies to you. You're lost, feel alone, confused, and without a clear plan or sign of hope ahead. You may be frightened and just want something to lift you out of the darkness and into the light. Your mind and perhaps your family and friends might tell you that this is a time that is crazy to trust. They may tell you that you should try to fix yourself, get real, give up, and get on with life. Do not listen to doubts or negativity in others or yourself. It is safe to trust. And this goes back to that last reading, right? Like, what's the vision? What are you focused on building? What is it that you want to do? And just like focus on building that. Like, take the next steps of what you know needs to be done on that without having to deliver God only knows what. Like, startups don't become unicorns overnight. They take time and daily effort. So do not listen to, do not listen to doubts or negativity in others or yourself. It is safe to trust. The Divine Mother is watching over you and will guide you safely into the new life awaiting you now. Love this. Love it when all the cards talk to each other. It makes my job way easier. So yes, it is gonna get dark. Find the light. Let your fire, whatever that Bridget was a very young goddess, right? Find that fire of youth that you have in you as an Aries, especially, and let it burn off whatever else the Scorpio swamp is going to bring us. Find your innocence. Find the things that make you feel optimistic and that life is good, and you know that there is beauty and things can grow and possibility, and stick to that. Assume that what you want can happen, and just take the little steps every single day to make it happen. And as you do that, as you move forward, A, the energy comes and increases, but B, that's also what burns off your karma, right? Moving away from the energy trying to hold you back, right? There's this energy that's trying to hold you back, and that's your karma. And you defeating the karma is intentionally saying, nope, gonna move forward, gonna take what I have in my little cup and I'm gonna move forward and bring it to the world. I'm not gonna stay stuck in the dark. I am gonna find the light and offer you, whatever little light I have, I'm gonna offer it to the world. Very intense. Would expect nothing less from a Scorpio season, especially where there's triple planets in there. Wishing you a very happy beginning of November, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.